fear, panic, anxiety, depression, and even suicide when a financial crisis hits your life. Whether that financial crisis is you individually or as society in general, life has ups and downs. Since the beginning of documented history, nothing in life always goes up and never has a problem. However, being that humans are more emotional than mathematical, a financial crisis doesn't just hit your bank account, it hits your mental health, it hits your hope, it hits everything. And it can hit your bank account. It's hit mine. I have lost more money trying to make money than I ever have working. And I'm going to talk about that tonight and a variety of different things associated to a financial crisis. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. I go live daily. But I figure I seized the moment because the past couple days the stock market has been down. However, it's all relative. Depending on when you watch this video, the stock market may be at an all-time high. And I'm not going to focus on one thing particularly because, again, the stock market and economies go up and down. Eventually, will it just collapse totally? It's possible. Anything's possible. The Roman Empire collapsed, but there's a lot of things in life you can't control. So one of the things I want to bring home tonight, I'm going to share some of my failures to relieve some pain for people who may be struggling. But one thing I want to share with you is that even if some of your fears and anxieties and actual financial losses are a reality, there's a certain level of it that you can no longer control. If you lost money, you can't control it anymore. It's gone. If, society is going to collapse economically, there's not much you can do. I'll share some tips that you can try to help alleviate that. Or if it's just a sine wave of life and you go through ups and downs, it's just part of life, And so what I could share with you first is, again, I want to hone in on the fact that I have lost more money trying to make money. Okay, so why? Because every investment, okay, whether it's starting a business, which is very risky, whether it's a mutual fund, which is not as much risky, or day trading, which is very risky, or any other thing that you want to put money in. Even like the most conservative investments, index funds, they tend to be what people call look, just leave them in there. But again, people are more emotional than mathematical. So when the stock market goes down, not just for a couple days, not just for a couple months, but for a couple years, I mean, who can bear that emotionally? Not many people. I know I couldn't. I couldn't even, but all I could tell you is, look, I'm not going to sit here and try to be a guru of finances because I'm an honest person, okay? And, what I preach on this channel and what I try to live by is if you want to take risk in life, and everything has risk, okay? Like sometimes I address that I think a lot of people should stay single because a relationship is very risky, okay? There is money involved. I spoke to someone today, and they went to go get a new car lease. And the car salesman that is there for the past 15 years, this person has leased a car from the same salesman. And this salesman is now close to 60. And every time this person would go to the car lot, the salesman was enthusiastic, had pictures of his family up in his cubicle, and was in good health. And this time, for the first time in 15 years, they haven't been to that car lot in about 5 years. The salesman had crutches because he was struggling walking, and all the pictures of his family were no longer in his cubicle. So the person asked, well, where's the pictures of your family? Because they were finalizing the deal, sitting down. And he goes, I'm getting a divorce. He goes, I'm getting a divorce. My wife, or I don't know the whole situation. There's always two sides at least to every story. So he basically just said, look, we're getting a divorce. My kids just graduated high school. I just got done paying for their college. I'll be 60 years old. My health is fading. I have no one to take care of me. I'm going to basically be bankrupt. I'm starting from zero at the age of 60. and I'm totally devastated. And so, that's a financial crisis in someone's individual life. Okay. And throughout life, there's billions of people. I think I Googled it today. I think there's 7.5 billion people, billion with a B, people in the world. And right now, there's a big health crisis, supposedly, of a virus, coronavirus. How many people to date have died of the coronavirus? 2,800 people. There's 7.5 billion. So I did the math. I think 2,800 people is like 0.00004% of 1%. So now look, could that become a pandemic? Sure. Look, guys, anything can happen. Life is risky. But what are we talking about? We're talking about a financial crisis or a financial collapse, either in society or in your own personal life. And we're talking about risk because everything in life is risky. Okay. And a depression is all relative to your situation. Like that car salesman that was on the lot today selling that new vehicle to this person I was talking to. For them, the stock market has been down for the past year. For them individually, even though the stock market and the economy was at the all-time high. Why? Because for their own personal situation, their financial well-being collapsed. They were getting a divorce. He had no money. His health is failing. He's going to have to sell cars until he's basically dead. So society was celebrating. He was suffering. So a financial collapse or a financial crisis is very much relative to your individual circumstance. For some people, if the Tesla stock goes to 1,000, they made a fortune. For the people shorting the stock, meaning betting it would go down, they lost a fortune. Never forget that when you're doing good, someone else is doing bad. Never forget that when you're doing bad, someone else is doing good. And when you're doing good, you do not have as much empathy on the person doing bad. Why? Because it's just part of life. Winners never empathize with losers, not to the full extent. How do you deal with a financial crisis? There's only so much you can do. That's the bottom line answer. You can live below your means. You can continue to work as long as you have good health and are willing and able. And you can keep as much flexibility in your life as possible. However, even if you make all the smart conservative decisions, if your health starts to fail, if you have a tragedy in your marriage or in one of your investments, guys, you could easily go bankrupt very quick. The most successful people in society have done so. Okay. Donald Trump went bankrupt. Okay. And if he didn't have a head start, you would have never heard of him. Okay. But not just him. There's plenty of other people throughout history that have gone bankrupt and suffered. It doesn't matter their political swaying. So, Tesla, Elon Musk made a fortune creating PayPal. He was the co-founder. Then he started Tesla. Tesla almost went bankrupt. It was because of a government bailout. They got a grant from the government to keep building sustainable cars, energy cars, that they were able to now be like this billion-dollar company. So one part about a financial crisis is most people face it in society, and you're going to have to be a little bit mentally strong and tough to just focus on one day at a time going forward, and that you can't control the past. That's very hard. That's why many people who struggle mentally and physically and emotionally, they just give up. And I understand it. I understand it. But as best you can, hang in there. Take life one day at a time. Like I say, I lost the most money I ever trading stocks, day trading, maybe. Now, if I would have just kept my money in index funds and played very conservative, I probably would have been up. We would be up if you consider dividends and everything like that. But I took more risk. Now, if I was married with children and I took more risk than I could have, I would have went bankrupt. However, I was single. I knew I was doing something dangerous as far as risky, and I was willing to lose a certain amount. Now, even though I was willing to lose a certain amount, it still scarred my soul. Okay, and you still lose a little bit more than you want to lose. No one wants to lose money. However, look, I take accountability. I didn't blame Jim Cramer. I didn't blame like the algorithm that just all of a sudden it went like mathematically totally berserk. Why? Because it's part of life. Like I did a video about men going their own way. I understand they're hurt because I'm sure they're devastated emotionally, financially through a divorce. However, you got involved with someone willingly. You took a risk. And that's what I was telling, like this person was telling me about that car salesman. I was like, well, I'm sure when he married his wife, she was a certain way. And maybe she was beautiful and her beauty was her gift. And now her beauty's fading and she doesn't feel pretty. And if there's not lovey-dovey in a relationship and now she has to be a caretaker to an elderly man that's getting crippled, what's the sense of living then? You decide, let me get a divorce because there's no romance, there's no passion, and if you built your relationship on that, that's a big part of a relationship. Passion, love. But if you don't have like mutual goals and respect but most people who get married, they don't get married because they have mutual goals, interest, and sacrifice. No, even when you do, it's still an uphill battle. It's very tough to maintain a relationship. So, but what I'm getting at is, look, you're taking a risk if you decide to get in a relationship, and definitely if you get married and have kids. You're taking a risk anytime you invest in something, whether it's a bond or day trading. And the only thing I can tell you through my own pain of I failed is that, look, you got to just own it. You did it. You willingly did it. And then, you can never get certain money back. At a certain point, you just say, look, I can't control it. There's a prayer, the Serenity Prayer, for people who go like to AA meetings and Alcohol Anonymous and all those different things, is that one of the parts I remember them vaguely, I went because I had family members strung out on drugs in my childhood, is that accept what you can't control. Basically is what it is. God, give me this, or higher power or whatever, give me the serenity or to let go of what I can't control. Look, if you lost money, even if it was your fault, and look, it was your fault, bottom line, because everything has risk. Okay? Everything. There's no guarantees in life. Now society got smart during the Great Depression when the economy did collapse. That's when society in America created Social Security and Medicare, because we had mass destitute. We had bread lines in the streets of America. Okay. The government had to intervene, just like the government had to intervene during 2008. Capitalism collapsed twice. If it wasn't for the government socializing the losses of the private sector, America would not exist. Because after the Great Depression, not only did they institute Medicare and Social Security, they also spent a ton of money building infrastructure throughout the country, the Golden Gate Bridge and a bunch of other projects, government spending. In 2008, what did? They bailed out Wall Street and corporations, and they did the same thing. And even now, like they're talking about cutting their interest rates again. All that is artificial, but whatever, that's fine. But what I want to show you is that people individually lose and society loses. And if it isn't for the entity that prints money, which are governments, everything collapses and then there's anarchy. You don't want anarchy. Now, you may want reform. You're wise to want reform. But beyond all those nuances is something that we all feel. Now, again, we feel it when it's bad. When it's good, no one cares. And it may be good tomorrow. So, life is like that. Like last week, no one, nothing is on. There's some people that do love fear. I call them people who masturbate to fear. Usually they're the preppers, the end time people, and they want, I don't know if they want anarchy, but they like horror movies. They like fear because fear is an adrenaline rush. A lot of times people, I don't want to say they're weak-minded because we all could be weak-minded, but a lot of times people who have mental problems, they like fear because it's an adrenaline rush. When you're in fear, like if God forbid your children were ever trapped under a car, you could lift that car because it's an adrenaline, it's a high, okay? So why do some people with mental problems like horror movies and like conspiracy theories and even though some of that stuff may be right, they like it because it's an adrenaline rush to the mind and they can't fight it off. And why do people like gambling? Whether it's in a casino or whether it's in a stock market, because it's a high, it's an adrenaline rush. Stable investments, and there's nothing stable. I think we broke that down, but there are things more stable. I think we also could say that is that, people get bored. People get bored in a relationship. People get bored in a index fund. But look, guys, what can you do? You can't do much a lot of times. Now, sometimes you can do something if it's self-inflicted. Again, I own the fact that I lost the majority of my money, not an index fund, not society, me. And it's painful. Like I wish I had it, okay? However, all I could do is move forward. I mean, I took the risk too when I was younger, and I figured, if it doesn't work out, then, from middle age up, I'll move on, okay? So, what I could tell you is life is meant to be lived going forward, okay? And whether it's Elon Musk or Donald Trump, who basically both were either in bankruptcy or on the brink of bankruptcy, everyone has their ups and downs, okay? They're really, the smart people, quote unquote, they're the people that just keep fighting, okay? You do get tired of fighting. And that's why, again, thank God that we do have programs for the elderly. I mean, I think they should be more, but what I could tell you is this. Obviously you want to dial down your risk as you get older. Obviously you want to watch your financial entanglements, and at a certain point you want to stop the self-inflicted wounds. And you have to know yourself. Knowing yourself is the key to all decisions. I know that there's some things emotionally that I struggle with, okay? So that's why a little bit now, like I kind of like at the point where I'm just not going to deal with certain stocks or certain things like that. I just emotionally can't do it. And financially, I've had a track record of losing. I always tell you that you have to track and measure your goals. What's the difference between someone who has diabetes and someone who doesn't? Well, one possible thing is one person measures the sugar in their food, the other person doesn't. Measuring your goals and being specific is an eye-opener. And I tracked year over year my investments for like a 10-year period of time. Okay. So you could just look at 1 year and say, yeah, I made 20 grand that year. But if you look at the course of 10 years, you could say I lost 200 grand. Whatever the number is for you, plug it in. But if you don't track your goals, you're not going to be honest with yourself. Now, even sometimes when you track your goals, you want to deny it. Like sometimes a relationship is ending, it's dead. But a lot of times people cling to that relationship until it basically destroys their life and there's a restraining order filed. Because it's very tough to say, look, I lost, I'm never going to get this back. I'm never going to get this money back. I'm never going to get this time back that I invested in a relationship and it went to a crisis. It's the sucky part of life. However, how do you deal with it? One step at a time, one day at a time. Can't go backwards, forward. It sucks. However, look, if you are blessed enough to have your health, remember that. Try to find some things to be thankful for. And like I always tell you guys, maintain an income. And it's very tough to, one of my final goals was to try to retire early. But I really don't have a clear path to get there. I mean, I cut my expenses. I continue to work. I live below my means. But the key to retiring early is generating income, because you're always going to have expenses even when you're debt free. For the first time ever last week, or 2 weeks ago, I became debt free in my adult life. And that's great. It's a blessing. It feels good. However, look, I'm also living in my car, so eventually I may have to add something. But the other part about that is, like, even when you're debt free, you always have expenses. I always have car insurance, food, gas, etc. And so how do you retire early if you're always going to have expenses? Well, without Social Security, you would have to have some type of an investment or some type of creative thing. Like even YouTube, if I don't do videos, it doesn't keep producing money. So to have passive income where you're not actively working for it, I don't know anyone personally that's able to do it that didn't get an inheritance. I don't. Maybe some other people do, and God bless them. So what I could tell you is keep working until you have a track record of having positive cash flow in your investments for years. Because getting out of the workforce and then trying to get back in is tough. And once you get older, you don't want to work as much. So it's fine to take risk, but as you get older, you have to dial down your risk. You have to be a little bit more conservative. And when you're young and middle age, you want to continue to work if you're able, because you're building up your Social Security. You're building up some retirement. And, now could that disappear one day, guys? The whole world could disappear. We don't know. Okay. However, Social Security got enacted when the economy collapsed in 1929, I believe, when the Great Depression happened. Because, look, nobody wants to see the masses of society out in the street in bread lines. It's a disaster. Okay, so, because even people who have it good, you don't want that, because how are you going to get to Starbucks in your Tesla? You can't. Everyone's in the street. Like, if it's really Armageddon, you think you're going to pull up to a Tesla and Starbucks? Hell no. It's people crazy. There's already panhandlers outside of Starbucks. So, look, the bottom line is you can't focus on things you can't control. You have to let go of that you lost. You have to try to continue to work and maintain an income until you can't, or you have data, measured data, to prove that you can retire with a level of security. And then you just go from there. That's pretty much my thoughts on my own personal life and on just the financial collapse in general. Again, all depends when you watch this video. Times could be booming or times could be bad. And it is all relative to an individual's person. So if you're laid off or if you're struggling in life, but the rest of the country and the world's doing great, you don't care because you feel pain and other people don't, and vice versa. If you're doing great, you're riding around in Tesla and your income is doing great, you don't care. You have compassion, but you're doing you. So it's all relative to your individual circumstance. All right, guys, if you appreciate this video, I appreciate if you click that thumbs up, share the video, subscribe if you're not. I'm going to take a hydration break, and we'll read all live comments. All right, guys. Hope you had a good day. Cool front in South Florida for the next couple days. Low 70s. But it was a nice break. Good camping weather. Feels good to sleep in this weather. So let's see what we got all from top. Ryan B., good to see you, brother. Shout out to Utah. Very detailed window cleaner. Is that Woohoo? Sam, hello there. Is that you, Woohoo? Good to see you. Ryan B., perfect timing. Good to see you, brother. I appreciate you watching my old videos. For anyone out there thinking about living the nomadic life or mobile, I got a playlist of the nomad life, documenting 3 years when I started living out of my Jeep in New Jersey, and then traveling a little bit and then ending up in Florida. Thank you for watching my old videos, brother. Very detailed window cleaner. This is Woohoo. All right, brother, I'll call you Woohoo. I remember you. Shout out to Detroit, Tony. The market this week has been like a toilet bowl in all Night Planet Fitness. You remember? Yeah, total disaster. Good job. It's true. Now, next week or tomorrow, it may go up $1 billion. But it's good to talk about because people feel these things, feel these emotions. Again, the human is very emotional. And, mathematically, even if you're all mathematically, 70% of Americans still live in paycheck to paycheck. And, I think about that. If I buy a home base or if I buy a Class B or anything other than like a bare minimum thing, I'm going right back into debt. And if I lose my job, I'm right back into everyone, So, guys, it's very hard to stay ahead. Like I said, one of my last goals in life is to try to retire early and be financially independent, but I don't know if that's even possible. I really don't. Because you look at even Trump or any rich person, like even Elon Musk, they keep putting their energy back into things. I don't think you can just relax. Like even Dave Ramsey, he's still on his show barking at people, and if it wasn't for people being in debt, he wouldn't even have a show. So I don't know, man. I guess we're created to keep working until we die or be productive. Again, I didn't create the world. If it was up to me, I'd make society a little bit easier. However, you got to have work. You got to have productivity. You can't just have everybody sitting outside doing nothing. And then no one's working at Planet Fitness. No one's working at the place where they make muffins or the place where they make food. Or, it's a tough balance. I don't know. But good to see you, brother. Woohoo. My love. Hello, Sam. Hello to you. Pluto, good to see you, man. I miss you, bro. I miss you too, man. Good to see you, Pluto. Hope all's well. Good to see you. Jesse, hey, Jesse. Sam, it's been a crazy week. I know, total disaster. I have lost about 1,400. Oh, that's weak, man. Guys, in my worst days, I can barely even say it, but 1,400. Now, for you, that may be, and I understand it, but for me, if I only lost 1,400 in a week, at a certain point when I was day trading, stuff like that, that was nothing. I got destroyed day trading, man. However, I didn't want anyone to tell me not to do it. And I knew the risk. And there's some times where I was doing great. I felt like I owned the world. So I will never tell anyone not to do something because maybe you'll be better. And I don't, but all I can tell you is if that's all you lost, and you still be good, in my opinion. I have stopped trading until things go back to normal per my rules. Everyone's got their own rules. There's no exact science to it, but whatever works for you. I don't tell people how to spend their money or invest it. Like even if you do no investments. I remember at one time I had a neighbor who his wife would always buy clothes, and he was trying to get a budget and like get out of debt. And he would tell me about like his wife like was frustrating him. And like initially I took his side. I was like, yeah, that's not right. And then I remembered the scripture that, never render a verdict until you hear the defendant's side. And I never asked the wife about it, but after time I looked at the husband, and the husband wasn't buying clothes, but he was buying a lot of tools and a new pickup truck. So, both good people. The husband was a good man and the wife, was a good woman. I mean, they both had their problems, right? But the wife would spend money on clothes and like knickknacks, and the husband would spend money on tools and things with a motor. So it's like two people just spending money differently. So maybe they don't invest, but maybe they blow money in other ways. So as I get older, I'm more mature, and through my own failures, look, everyone has a right to spend their money or invest it or do it however they want. It's their life, So, and some things will do great, some things will do horrible. Best of luck to you. I want everyone to do great. Jessica, shorting is even riskier because it's volatile. It's everything. There's no exact science to it. So shorting could be a disaster, and so could going long. And no matter what, you're going to go through ups and downs because there's nothing that's always euphoria. However, again, if you have a savings account worth a year of expenses, if you have other income and you want to give that a shot, I'm not mad at you. And even if you don't and you want to give it a shot, again, I can't tell anyone else how to spend their money. It's your life, And so, I remember at certain times, like I would get in arguments with people like, don't tell me how to spend my money. I'm not telling you how to spend yours. So I wish you luck, Ryan B. 1 year of lust can turn into a lifetime of pain. That's true. And look, I have compassion on all the people, men and women, that got out of a nasty relationship. And I know the men going their own way movement, I know it's just hurt men. However, they're not taking accountability for they got into a relationship knowing it was risky. Okay? And so you have to own that. That was your decision. You didn't get abducted by aliens and forced into a marriage and forced to have unprotected sex. You willingly did it. Okay? Now, if you don't want to own that, you're just like someone who day traded and didn't want to own the fact that you lost money, like I did. Guys, that's your decision, okay? So, and if you don't want to own that, fine. You're going to be bitter and nasty your entire life. I don't want to be around you. I don't think I'm better than you because I was spared. I was spared when it came to relationships, even though I made some of my own decisions not to go too far. But guys, look, I've lost in other ways. Maybe I didn't lose catastrophically in a relationship, but I lost other ways. So look, bottom line is, life is too short to be around nasty people. And I don't want to be around nasty people. I empathize with the pain of others, but I don't want to talk about pain all day long. I want to address it, and then we got to move forward. Tesla car driver itself autopilot. That car almost 60,000 or more. That's right, Lala. Good job, Tony. 1 minute of lust can do that, Ryan. It's true. That's why I tell you guys, before you text someone, masturbate. And I tell you women out there, before you start to pick out baby clothes and dream about romance, remember, when your kids get older and they don't want to be around you, and, you and your husband have nothing in common, think about your life. And also, I know someone that had 3 kids and they were in a great relationship and then the husband died. So guys, anything can happen. I mean, it's like, so, but again, who am I to tell someone, if someone wants to take a risk in a relationship, but not risk in financial, they have that right. Now they have to own it. Maybe it'll go right. Maybe it'll go wrong. So I'm not going to tell people how to spend their emotional money. If people say, Sam, look, I realize that staying single is a conservative way to live emotionally, okay, and financially, because, you take less risk. Like the minute you have a kid, you basically go into debt $250,000 because the government estimates that in America, once you have a kid, it costs about $250,000 to raise them from 0 to 18. 250. That doesn't include college or anything else. So, For me, I decided to day trade not to have a kid. Now, once I got done day trading, I said, I took enough shit. I took enough losses. I don't have to take care of that kid anymore. However, for some people, having children and being a parent is fulfilling. For some people, it sucks. Again, I can't tell everyone how to live because everyone has their own way of living. I can only share my perspective. Good job. Pluto, one day at a time. Always. Thanks, man. You know I love you, Pluto. Ryan B. True, Tony. That's why we have socks. You damn right. Pain-free. Good job. Hey, guys. Staying single ain't that bad, so don't be mad at it. There were times where I cried on my bed, like my mid-20s, that I wished for a relationship. Now, I am so thankful the Lord spared me that I didn't have a serious relationship and kids. So what I can tell you is staying single is a blessing. However, when you're in your early 20s or maybe even late 20s and maybe even 30s, you think that I got to do it. But what you realize in your 40s, 50s, and 60s is this world is temporary. And if you get sick and you don't have to worry about your kids or worry about anyone else, you just feel better. Because one of the benefits of being single is you don't have to worry about other people. It's just you. And for me, that's all I can handle at this point. Now, at 20 or 30, I had a little bit more capacity, but now this year I'll be 40. I don't have it in me anymore to worry about anyone. And that's why I won't get another dog. I love my dog that passed away, and I'm thankful for that experience in my life, even though some of that I failed. But I can't handle it anymore. I'm done. I spent my emotional savings account on that dog, and financial too, because I used to spend about $400 a month on my dog between treats and everything else. But it was money well spent, but it took a lot out of my soul, once they pass away and they go through the whole process. So, everything has a season in life too, it's hard to say, Good job. Let's continue to read. Woohoo, my love. Marriage is not for everyone. I agree. It's not for me. But love to those who want it. Mel, hey, shout out to Brazil, aka, and also Australia. Hello, everyone. Love and peace to all. Well, same to you, Mel, and your son, Tony. Hello, me. Hello to you. Will be. Winners learn from failure. Losers blame others for failure. That's true, but I've seen winners blame too. Like I saw Donald Trump said that the election was rigged until he won. And then when he won, he said it was great. So, it's like, and it all depends. It's like, everyone, human nature, even me, like you want to blame. But the spirit or discipline or integrity pulls you back from saying, look, I made a wrong decision here. Your initial reaction is to blame. And that's why I say some people, and I don't judge them, but some people with mental problems, they masturbate to fear and conspiracy theories because it takes no resistance. Your mind wants to go negative. Your mind wants to go like total depression, and so you actually have to pull your mind back. It takes strength. And if you don't have that extra capacity of strength to pull your mind back, you can easily go down a dark hole. And I felt depths of hell. And it's only by the grace of God. I can't take full credit. So, but what I'm trying to share with you is it's very tough to maintain your integrity, sanity, and well-being. And even when you do all the right things, you still need the grace of God, because if you look close enough in any of our lives, we have failed. And so it's only by the grace of God. That's true. Antonio, what's up, brother? Hello, good to see you, man. Woohoo, my love. Emotional investment is risky. It's true. Humans are mainly emotional. So even when you lose money, a lot of times in life, it's an interesting thing. When you lose money, it may not even really apply to your practical day. What it is psychology. Like there's digits on a computer screen or on a printout of your 401k, of your savings account or your brokerage account. But the actuality is you're probably not even using it. It was just like watching the numbers go up and down. When they went up, you got excited. When they went down, you got depressed. Now, certainly, that's why I tell you, if you want to risk, that's fine, but you want to keep a certain amount in savings, a year's worth of expenses if you can, because that way at least you have some insurance policy on life, I think about that now, living the nomad life. One thing now I start to think about a little bit, if, as I get older, I'm still young, I'm middle age, be 40 years old. For some people that are 70, say, you're a baby, I know. But I think about my future a little bit, and that if I get hurt on the road, where do I go? I don't want to go back to New Jersey. I don't want to go back living with my mom, So, and my mom's getting older herself, So I think about a home base, or I think about something, because it's an insurance policy. It's a little bit psychological, but it's a little bit of an insurance policy. It's true. Let's continue to read. Subject Zero, what's up, man? Good to see you. Most people get married just because they have been told. That's true. That's what to do when you get old. To some extent, that's true. Definitely previous generations did that. Not thought goes into making a choice. That's true. Now, look, why did more people stay together in previous generations? Well, 2 generations ago, women didn't have job opportunities. Okay, women weren't even able to vote until like the 50s or 60s. So, like, why did your grandparents, at least for me, why did my grandma not work? Because they came here from Italy. My grandfather worked as a janitor. My grandmother never even got her driver's license. So, now, as things progressed in society, now it's a lot different. And society is still trying to balance that out. Society is still trying to figure out, like, now that there's a little bit more equality between genders, like, it's not an easy balance. And at the core of a lot of humans is independence. And what did I tell you? What do you risk when you get into a relationship? You risk your independence emotionally. And so when you have a bad day and you're single, let's say you lose $200,000 in one day, God forbid. If you're single, it'll suck, but it's better than coming home to a family and 3 kids. Okay. But for some people, even if they're making money, life is not fulfilling by themselves. Okay. And they like to be connected to, and they don't even want to risk money. They just want enough money to raise their family and to live life and to go on some adventures. You can't come up with a way that everyone should live. Now, sometimes, even me, like, I'm guilty of it. I preach a certain way because I'm passionate about my own views. But everyone has their own way to live life. Like I say, sometimes I blast Arizona or New Mexico. I love those. Or New Jersey. Like, sometimes people get mad when I get upset about New Mexico or Arizona, but they don't say anything when I blast New Jersey. It's interesting. But I'm not mad at New Jersey. I'm not mad at New Mexico. All I try to tell you guys is, like, for me, at least at this point, it's not for me. So, right, like, but I'm passionate about Florida and about tropics, but some people hate Florida with a passion, and they love Utah, or they love Vermont. So, how should you live life? I mean, look, you got to figure that out, right? I mean, there's no way that I could tell you exactly how to live life. Tony says exactly, Subject Zero. Guys, too, I appreciate if you click that thumbs up. Even though it's a financial collapse, let's get these thumbs up to at least 50. At least 50 right now. Maybe we'll get to 100. Let's see where I'm at. 21. I want it to go up. Ryan B. Long-term holding is less risky. That's true. But nothing is ever guaranteed. That is damn true. Good job, Ryan. Woohoo, my love. Correct. To confirm what society is doing. Luke. Hey, Sam. What's up, brother? What's going on, man? Woohoo, my love. Confirm. Luke. Send you positive vibes. I appreciate that. I'll take that, man. Luke. Hope you've been well. I'm doing the best I can. I hope you've been good also. Tony. Marriage makes us feel validated and normal. For some people like me at my age, it makes me want to throw up. And I've always felt that a little bit. Like, I remember being in the bed with some girl, and I like this girl. And we just got done having fun together in bed. And she had a bush. I liked the bush. And we were playing around. And I said, imagine if we, and I was saying something like, we were talking about, like, not using a condom or something. And she goes, imagine if we had kids. I said, that'd be some shit. Like, I wasn't looking forward to that. So, and I hurt her feelings, and then she got upset, and it was a whole disaster. But I got my feelings hurt too in life. I've got my heart broken, guys. Okay. And I've had to cry, and I've broken other people's hearts. Remember this when you get your heart broken. Remember that you also broke other people's hearts. That'll keep you from being a bitter man going your own way guy. And remember, when you make money or lose money, you've been on the other side of the coin. So remember how someone else feels. It's life. Sometimes you'll win, sometimes you'll lose. Let's continue. Luke, I feel the Nomad Live would give you great flexibility during economic slowdown. Well, it can, but it's like, at a certain point, the biggest plus to the Nomad life is you have mobility. So if the economic times get bad, you have the opportunity to go to a different environment to get a job where times may be good. However, if you know you don't want to live in New Jersey, but you can go there to get a better job, do you want to? I don't want to. Now, if I had to, yes, being that I have less commitments, I have more flexibility. But you can rent an apartment or, whatever. But look, my long-term vision for my life is to spend most of my time in Florida. Uh, but look, too, it's like even when times are good or bad, I mean, look, I'm basically homeless. I'm living in my car. Now, I like some aspects of it. Some aspects of it I don't like. The biggest part that I struggle with now is emotionally, I don't like taking care of things. And I don't like dealing with a landlord. I don't like dealing with but at a certain point, you got to bite the bullet. Now, I'm unwilling to bite the bullet again. That's why I'm kind of like in a frozen place of not doing anything. I fear a little bit losing my job and being right back to where I was, 15 years ago when I had a mortgage and I got laid off, and then I had to borrow money from the banks and from my parent, from my father, which it all turned out to be a disaster. I never want to be in that position again. So I don't know, man. I mean, I thank God that for what I have. I want to say that. When you're questioning, just be thankful for what you have. Because I heard about that car salesman, the story I was telling earlier today. He's 60 years old, basically going to be bankrupt and almost handicapped and have to work till the day he dies. I have to be thankful for what I have. Thankful for my job, thankful for YouTube, thankful for my health. At any time, look, it can all collapse, guys. That's the truth. All we can do is manage our risk, but life is risky itself. It's very risky. Every time you see a dead squirrel or a dead deer on the road, I want you to remember that life is risky. Okay? Do you think that squirrel thought like he was going to get hit by a car? No, it just, life came, man. So, just remember that. Good job, Luke. And being debt free. Well, being debt free is a blessing. Now, the negative about being debt free, I'll do a video about this, is that there's a scripture that says hoarding cash can harm the saver because you're going to put more in risky investments. Now, in one sense, I've got my share of pain losing money through day trading and other risky investments. So at this point now, as of today, I don't think I'm going to risk any more money doing that stuff. So a fully funded emergency account and then deciding what I want to do next. Now, if I buy a home base or if I buy an RV, and I put myself a little bit more vulnerable. However, at a certain point, you got to live life, because if I'm waiting for the point where there's no risk, I don't know. But I'm keeping it real simple. I'm evaluating life. I'm doing the best I can. Isaac, I agree, Luke. Woohoo, my love. I agree, Luke. Luke, thumbs up. Luke, I feel being mobile to move to areas that are more economic better other than other is a great asset. It is true. That's true. Maximizing a car that has a good gas mileage is you have to travel across states. Now, I agree with that. Look, here's the benefit of living in a car or even a small compact van versus an RV. If God forbid you lose your job or something happens, you could still DoorDash or Uber. Look, it's still a minimum wage job, but something you can do immediately and make some money, okay? And even when you're debt free, you need money. So that's the one thing I fear a little bit if I buy a Class B, and if God forbid something changes and I don't have money coming in, I don't really have that option anymore. I cut off a source of potential revenue. And I'm still 40. However, I said to myself too, Sam, you're 40. If God forbid something changed in your life, you can't, I don't think I would live off DoorDash or Uber the rest till I'm 60. I would have to go get another career job. Why? Because look, guys, I don't want to be living hand to fist when I'm 60 years old. I know people doing it, and I think it's a sin in society. I think once you get a certain age, you should, have some more, whatever. I mean, at a certain point, what can you do? But all I can tell you guys is, keep it simple, keep your flexibility, but you got to have some comfort in life, or else life is not worth living. Everyone has to evaluate that themselves. Good job. A lot of financial collapse, market up or down 50%, stocks will crash. I got hacked, America. But back in 1999, George Bush started all this because he was an idiot, begin with election vote. Well, look, guys, there's been ups and downs through all different political parties. And whether you're conservative or liberal, there's been people on both sides of the aisle that have done good and bad things. And conservative and liberals have made money and lost money. The bottom line is, don't get caught in that whole negative political blah, blah, blah. Look, vote how you want to vote. Okay, I do. And speak how you want to speak. And look at the results. Okay. Like I told you guys, I gave Trump credit for the economy until it's not good. If it's not good, he's going to get the blame. Just like I gave Obama credit for tripling the stock market, and he left with it up. So I'll look at it fair. If Trump does 4 years or 8 years and he leaves with it better than when he started, he'll get credit. If not, he'll get the blame. Why? Because that's just how life is. So you have to look at the facts. You have to measure your goals. I had to measure my wins and losses in trading stocks, and I saw that I lost more than I won. I couldn't lie to myself. So you should look at everything in life like that. Luke, I feel like that Class B would be stressful like a house. Cleaning the auto inside and emptying the poop tank and added maintenance. Well, I think the Class B would be a little bit less stressful than a house because I would still have more flexibility and I wouldn't be tied into a mortgage, HOA, or property taxes. And I wouldn't use the black water tank. I would just put a trash bag liner and I would still use Planet Fitness as a shower. However, I would always have all the amenities of a full shower and the running water. If I got sick or injured, I would just park at a campground or RV park for an extended period of time and I would be fully self-contained. I looked at like an A-liner or a small teardrop, but I don't think I will ever get something that doesn't have fully self-contained amenities, meaning a bathroom, kitchenette, and sleeping quarters. Because to me, if I'm going to get, whether it's a travel trailer or a motorhome, and I mean a Class B, I'm not going to get a Class C or A. The whole purpose is if I really need to get off the road for a while, even if my RV is on wheels, I want to be fully self-contained. Like if God forbid you break your leg, you don't want to be in a runaway travel trailer. You don't want to be in a A-frame. You want to be in a fully self-contained unit that even if you have to have a nurse or something come check on you at an RV park, you are fully self-contained. And so if I'm going to spend money and or go in debt, it's going to be a benefit to me. It's not going to be just to, get something. It's got to have a plus. And for me, the only plus to getting an RV would be it's fully self-contained, and a home base would be that it provides a safe, legal place to parking that has amenities. So that's how I feel. Luke, so I feel it's not as stress-free as people make it. No, the RV life is not simple and it's not cheap. That was one of the first videos I did 3 years ago, researching this life when I hit the road, and that's the first video that caught some traction. And that's why I tell you, like, if you're just starting this life and you're young and single, stay in the car you have or van you have, because an RV and it's not cheap and simple. However, I lost more money day trading than I would have if I would have bought an RV. So I have to be honest with you too. So it's all relative to how you want to spend your money and risk it. Woohoo. Good point, Luke. Money, time, maintenance, and stuff. Carry on. The ever lovely Wise Sam. Well, thank you. Thanks for another great video. Well, thank you for the comment and thank you for your love. Zach. Hey, Nomad. I saw your old videos, and in the past, you get 3 million views on YouTube. Yes, I have about 2,000 videos in total over the course of 3 years. If you add all the views up on all my videos, I have about 3.2 million views. How much money does that equal? Well, every million views equals anywhere between $1,000 to $3,000. Okay, so for 3 years, I pretty much made around $9,000. Okay, if you add everything up, just add revenue. So is that a lot? Hell no. Take $3,000 a year. Now I'm thankful for that though. It's better than nothing. But now, can it grow over time? Yes. If you continue to do it, okay, it can grow. To retire off it, even like the big channels that have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and they get like 50,000 views, that's why you have to have a Patreon and PayPal and other things like that to tip, because, and super chat, because you have to have some supplemental. If you don't, you could still do it, but it's your time and your energy. If I wasn't single with no other commitments, I wouldn't put as much time and energy in YouTube because I couldn't afford to do it. So the only reason I can afford to do this and spend so much time and energy because I'm single, I got no other commitments, and I'm trying to strategically, through a long-term perspective, grow the channel to a point where if it's not a main income, it's at least a supplement that I could count on so that I always have something. However, look, if God forbid I get sick or hurt, now people will watch the replays of the old videos, but if you stop making videos, it's just like stop showing up to work. Your money goes down and eventually the algorithm stops. So everything in life, whether it's YouTube or working at Walmart, if you stop showing up, your channel's not going to grow. Your money's not going to keep coming in because there's nothing that just keeps coming in without you putting energy, money, time, or effort into it. So it's something you should consider. Luke, South Florida is a magical. Daryl, $2 super chat. May the supplemental income be a blessing from the Lord. Financial collapse. It's the end, Sammy. Well, brother, if it's the end, hug your doggy tight. And I'm thankful for all your love, brother, because there's nothing we can do if it's the end. Now, I remember when I had a nonprofit organization in New Jersey, I was on an AM radio station, and that was during the 2008 financial collapse. And I did a radio show called Armageddon is Here. And now, was Armageddon here? It was there, and then it wasn't. Why? Because then it went right back up. So there's no telling what the future will hold. Maybe it'll go up, maybe it'll go down. But there are two times in American history where capitalism collapsed. One is the Great Depression in 1929. That's when the U.S. government started a program called Social Security and Medicare, and they pumped money into infrastructure projects, the Golden Gate Bridge, etc. Then in 2008, the Great Recession, if the government didn't bail out Wall Street and pump more money back into the economy, it would also collapsed. So look, just think about this. Gerald, damn it, Gerald, thank you again. Get some Starbucks, buddy. I love you, man, because after my financial collapse, I appreciate that. But think about this, man. Like for the past few days, the U.S. economy, the stock market went down about 1,000 points per day. Okay. So what is the Dow Jones Index, which is the major unit of measurement in America? It's about 26,000 right now. So in the next month, if we went down 1,000 points every day for 1 month, we would have no stock market. America, even the wealthiest country in the world, it's not hard to totally collapse. All you need is 1 month of us continuing a trend of losing 1,000 points a day on the Dow Jones, and there's no economy. It's done. Capitalism collapsed for the third time. Now, will that happen? Probably not, because, there'll be different things, but it's that, society is not as, solid as you think. Like people will say, buy the dip, but if it keeps dipping, they'll say, buy a gun and get some canned goods. You know what I mean? And there's some people waiting for that because they masturbate to fear. However, you can't control that, and history shows us that, it tends to bounce back, but I can't tell you. All I can tell you, Gerald, is thank you for your generous tips, and thank you for your viewership. Love to you and love to your dog. Hug your dog every night, man. And God bless you, brother. Thank you for that love, man. Appreciate you. Let's continue to read the live comments. Thank you, Gerald. Lila A.K. Zach. Hey, Nomad. I read that. Luke, South Florida is a magical place. I miss it. Ready to move back. Well, for me it is, man. I fear sometimes having to leave South Florida. Sometimes I want to buy a home base. It's like I want to marry Florida. Oh, shit. Woohoo, my love. Super chat. $4.99. Grand Coffee Samuel. Thank you, because inflation's high and the economy's down. Your well-rounded take on life is much appreciated. Well, my love. Shout out to another doggy viewer. God bless you and God bless Gerald, because you show me a lot of love on the tip. And I appreciate that, because I'm door dashing my ass off via YouTube right now. And I appreciate the tips. Woohoo, my love, and those kind words. And thank you, Gerald. Thank you both very much. I don't take it for granted. I don't. Because I realize how hard it is to earn money. Like, there was a time when I was day trading stocks and I was doing good. And I was like, man, money's easy to make. And then I lost a fortune. For me, it was a fortune. And I said, money's not that easy to make. Until you lose money, you don't realize how hard it is to make. However, look, life is about winning and losing. Okay, so what I could tell you is this, guys. Thank you for your love, and I appreciate that. But back to Luke, I fear sometimes leaving Florida. That's why sometimes I want to buy a home base to put down roots. Now, sometimes I feared a relationship, so I want to to make her mine. I didn't want to get married, but I wanted to make her steady. Sometimes people fear losing a relationship, so they have a kid. So I struggle sometimes. I say, Sam, there's nothing going to guarantee that you're going to be able to stay in this area. Now, I may buy a home base because for me, at this point, it's like Florida or bust. I mean, do I really want anything else out of life? No. Now, I don't want to be in Florida in August and September, because that's the height of hurricane season. Is very nasty. However, the rest 9, 10 months out of the year, I do want to be here. So I don't know, man. I struggle with that. Let's continue to read. Vlad, correction are good for this dumb market. Yeah. Look, corrections are good until they stay down too long and then they become a depression. So a correction can become a depression. However, if a correction becomes just a dip and people buy it and it goes up, then everyone's back to feeling great. No one knows the future, including me. So I don't try to lie to you guys and say I'm this financial wizard. And what I could tell you is most other people, they're not either. Because I do remember Jim Cramer pounding on the desk saying, take your money out of the stock market if you need in the next 5 years. And then when the stock market went back up in 2 years, I never remember him pounding on the desk saying, buy everything, buy. He was saying buy Bear Stearns before it went down. So what I could tell you is if you decide to risk your money, you own it. If you decide to get in a relationship and it doesn't work out, you own it. You have to be accountable for your wins and losses. It sucks. But that's life. Let's continue. Luke, yeah, man, money goes quick. You damn right. My man, I saved from my sales job over $50K. Good job. And job messed up and blew that in 12 months. Guys, $50K can disappear like that, even if you're not investing. Because like you say, I've been there. And that's why I'm so scared to buy anything now. If you get laid off out of no fault of your own, and you have no income coming in, you can blow $50K on just like basic, essentials. Housing, most people are not going to live in their car. And even if you're living in a car, you got food, insurances, gas. Now, obviously, you're better if you're living in a car, but guys, I'm living a primitive life. Like, it's not all glory. I mean, but the bottom line is money goes fast. One of the first videos I also did 3 years ago was that savings goes fast. That's why I would never want to live off savings unless I was in an emergency. That's why I would always work, even if I had to take a night job at Planet Fitness. If I could, I would. Why? Because, guys, you always got to have income. That's the only way you stay independent. If not, then I have to go back living with people. Or, and I don't want to do that. I got to be independent. That's how I am. James, what's up, man? Why is it against the law in some places to sleep in your car, but okay to sleep on the street? It's a good question. I mean, because they try to keep order. Okay, laws are for order. Now, some laws are overreaching, but some people abuse grace. Meaning that, right, like there was no law or there was no major rule obstructing people from parking and sleeping in Walmart. But then people started to abuse it. And so, like, if you don't have certain laws, there's some people, not most, most people obey general laws. But what happens is there's a small percentage of society that abuses things. And so then, like, you have to have some regulation or else it's anarchy. Everyone's putting up a tent. Everyone's camping everywhere. And so that's the reason for the law, because if you didn't have people going to the bathroom that's why you need like running water and you need a toilet. You need to be fully self-contained, because people don't want you like dumping out your dookie in a plastic bag at the side of the road. That's how you have anarchy. Like before America had sewage systems and trash pickup, it was like a third world country. Okay, because garbage day in America was instituted because people would just put their garbage out in the street, and it was like a third world country. And it was, we had to create a system of waste management, of landfills, of this and that. So without those regulations and without like trash day and pickup day, there's just anarchy. So you need regulation, rules. The problem is it's like everything. Like people abuse the rules, then there's too much rules, and then people push back on the rules. So society's always trying to find balance. Whether it's a political spectrum or just a way of society being, people are trying to find balance. Okay. And that's the hard part about life, because we're all trying to find balance. Like not just in a society perspective, in our own individual lives. We're trying to balance our financial needs, our happiness. We're trying to balance our diet. We don't want to starve ourselves to death, but we don't want to become a glutton. We're always trying to find balance in life, and it's not easy in our personal lives and in society, because balance is not an easy thing and it's constant movement. So you always have to constantly adjust your life. That's true. Let's continue. Good job, James. Vlad, the hardest part about, he goes, the hardest part for middle class is when they lose their jobs. Oh, definitely. And burn savings. Definitely. Financial, amen. Look, most of society, even when financial times are good, statistics show it, 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. We're the wealthiest country in the world. So if the stock market crashes, if companies lay off, which I've been there, and you lose your job, guys, in 6, 12 months, you'd be asking for food stamps if you couldn't get another job. Now, that's why I tell you guys, I practice what I preach. Keep working until you don't have to work and you have enough money not to work. And if you lose your job, look right away, because the longer you wait, the worse it gets. That's my own personal experience. Good job. Repeat 74. They need to make yoga pants. Well, hey guys, yoga pants will either be a euphoria or the beginning of the end, because yoga pants are an investment. And what I choose to do is watch free porn with yoga pants rather than commit to yoga pants. Why? Because a relationship just too risky and not enough reward for me personally. However, love and respect to everyone who likes relationships, because I don't want to tell you how to live. Alexis, hey Alexis. Just don't look at your 401k statement. That's true. Look, when the Dow was at 18,000, I took my 401k out of the index funds and I just put it into basically like a savings account. So from 18,000 all the way, I think it got up to like 29,000. I didn't see any of those gains. I did the wrong thing, obviously. You know why? Because I just emotionally couldn't take it anymore. So I'm always going to be honest with you guys. Like every financial person that comes on a channel, I would love them to show you their tax returns and their financial statements. They won't. Like even Donald Trump won't show you his tax returns. Why? Because guys, most people, even if they're very successful, they actually don't make as much as you think. They're fighters. They know how to leverage the system and play the system. So I tell you guys straight up, I don't try to like deceive you guys. I tell you, I lost this. I just told you what I make on YouTube, 3 million views. I make, for every million views, you make anywhere from $1,000 to $3,000. So guys, how many views do my average video get? A couple hundred. So, however, look, people sometimes, they don't want to be lied to, but people sometimes like the fantasy versus the reality, because reality can be very depressing. However, you can make your reality a little bit better by living below your means, if you live below your means and you consistently work, even if you don't love your job, at least you're able to be independent. And on the weekends and on your off time, you can enjoy life as best as possible. Outside of that, I don't have any magic answer, because I haven't figured out any magic answer. But the lower you live below your means, the more you're willing to work, the better jobs you can get. And, the higher up you can go, and then maybe the more power you have, so that you don't have to always, be on the hook. Because the low person on a totem pole, it sucks. I've worked for minimum wage and I've worked up. And what I could tell you is, why should you take a promotion? Because if you don't take the promotion, someone else is going to send you out for coffee. I've been there. I've been a coffee boy. So when in doubt, take the promotion. When in doubt, don't commit heavily financially. I think that will serve you well. Good job. Woohoo, my love. Debt, life struggles, a vicious cycle. I've been there. Always an insightful video, Sam. Thank you. Guys, I got debt free for the first time in my adult life 2 weeks ago. And one of the first things I think about is going back into debt. If I'm honest with you guys, I'm honest. Why do I think about that? Because now I'm thinking about, look, 3 years living in my car, I achieved some goals. I got down to Florida. I paid off all my debt. But, can I retire early? I don't think so. I don't have, without working, there's no other income. I got YouTube, but I just told you what I make. So what I think now, well, Sam, do I want to buy a home base? Do I want to buy an RV and add some comfort along the journey? Because all you really have is the journey. But if I do that, I'm going to get back in the financial hook to people. And it's scary. It's scary. It is. And I'm so scared because of my past failures that I'm choosing to do nothing. Now that could backfire too. Because if I don't do anything, and if times do take a turn, I'm out with nothing. So I don't know, man. I don't have the answers. I'm just trying to do the best I can. Ray, hey, what's up, man? When you get excited, you remind me of Robin Williams. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Ray. Thank you for the comment. Roberto, what's up, Roberto? The rat race is overrated. Well, I've been there. But I'll tell you what's overrated. Collecting unemployment and running out of it and having no money coming in. So if you have a choice between being in the rat race and exiting the rat race, well, this is what the rat race is, not just working. So let me correct myself. I apologize. The rat race is working to make more money, but then you spend just as much money at the rate you make it. meaning you get a job promotion, so you buy a nicer car or you buy 2 houses. So I don't think you should get out of the workforce until you have sustainable supplemental income that can support your lifestyle. However, keep working and getting promotions and build your career and keep your expenses low. But that in between those two things is discipline and self-denial. That's hard. So the rat race is keep moving up, but keep your expenses low. Dropping out of the workforce is even if your expenses low, you'll still be at poverty. Because if I drop out of the workforce right now, guys, poverty. So that's what I would tell you. Be very careful. Good job, Vlad. There's a losing streak and a winning streak. Life is full of ups and downs. That's true. Guys, I appreciate it if you click that thumbs up button. Appreciate that free show love. And thank you again to Woohoo My Love and Gerald. Thank you. Let's continue to read. Vlad, confidence and reinsurance. That's true. Chantel, hey Chantel. Hey Sam, what's up? I appreciate your knowledge. Well, thank you for that positive comment. Vlad, losses mess up your morale. Guys, when I had some serious financial losses, I mean, it makes you want to commit, I don't want to say commit suicide because that's too harsh of a statement, but you have, I mean, it's a dark hole, man, mentally. It's emotionally, your soul suffers. And it's a horrible thing. It really is. But all we can do is just take life one day at a time. Vlad, don't trade if you don't have supplemental income. In my opinion, don't trade if you don't have a main income. Because in my experience, I can't speak for everyone, and I will never tell anyone how to do it. So do whatever everyone wants. But in my experience, you will lose more money trading than you ever will working. So make sure you have a primary income and then trade on the side. However, do whatever you want. Because what I can tell you is if I didn't have a job, I would have been bankrupt and totally destitute. Because I've lost more money trading than I did saving. That's the truth. In my opinion, everyone may have a different experience. So I'm not going to be one of these bitter people either. Like I got out of a divorce and now I'm going to blame all relationships. No. I'm not going to say that I lost day trading so everyone else should be like me. No. If you guys are doing something and if you're honest, if you're measuring your wins and losses and you have a track record of winning more than you lost, then don't worry about my opinion because you have your own life. But in my experience, I track my wins and losses. And over a 10-year period, even if I had some up years trading stocks, I lost more than I won. And so I have to own that. And I won't lie to you guys because it's not right. Good job. Manny, good to see you. Lake Isaac. Financial debt, money, restaurants losing their jobs because the stock market will go down 50%. People, look, if the stock market goes down, the first thing that gets cut is people stop eating out as much. And then DoorDash slows up, Uber slows up. Because the first place people can save money is stop eating at Starbucks, stop eating at restaurants, and they cook home more. That's human nature. Because that's usually the one area that you can cut expenses without majorly changing your lifestyle. That's true. Man, I like Florida. It's more laid back compared to New York. Well, definitely. Look, there's nothing higher pace than New York. Why I personally like Southeast Florida, because there's a lot of people from New Jersey, New York, and the Northeast mixed with some people from down south, mixed with some people from the Midwest, and mixed with some people from overseas. So you have this great diversity in Southeast Florida. It's not laid back country land. Like there are some parts of South Carolina, North Carolina that I went to and love and respect to them, but it's too laid back, too country. So for me, I like a little bit fast paced, but not downtown Manhattan fast paced. So Southeast is a good mix of like the Northeast, down South, Midwest, and overseas. It's a good culture with a Caribbean vibe, a Latin vibe that I like personally. And that's why it plays to my strengths, and that's why I like it. Tom, what's up, Tom? Shout out to you, man. You never know about your job. 1 minute you're a hero, the next minute you're a zero. Well, great comment, Tom. I totally agree. 1 minute, yeah, you can get a recognition from your boss and from management, and the next minute you do something bad and everyone hates you or it's a bad experience. So I've totally been there. I agree. Let's take a hydration break, guys. Let's continue. Alexis, don't spend a whole lot of money on an RV. Thank you, Alexis. Yeah. The cheapest RV I could buy, brand new, if we were talking about brand new, would be approximately a $10,000 RV. Because again, I want fully self-contained, or else there's no point in getting an RV for me. So if I do that, I'm going to install a hitch on the back of my Jeep, But then I'm going to be towing it from campground to campground. I don't know if I want to do that long term for my future and even immediate. Now, if I get a Class B, a new one is going to be about $60,000. That's a lot of money. So the middle ground is if I buy a home base and put a travel trailer on it. But that's a long-term financial entanglement, and I'm really committed to one area with not as much flexibility. There's no perfect answer. The simplest answer is keep doing what I'm doing, but I'm taking a risk. If something majorly changes in my life, I may not have an option to get a loan. I may not have an option to do something else. So there's no guarantee either way. That's true. Let's continue. Jennifer K. What about a tiny house? I looked at tiny houses when I first started back in New Jersey. But the problem with a tiny house, okay, is that most areas will not let you put a tiny house in their county municipality. Most counties and municipalities want you to build at least 1,000 square foot house. That's not tiny. A tiny house is under 500 square feet. And so you're going to have to buy land in the middle of nowhere. For me, why is that a negative? Well, number one is I don't want to live in the middle of nowhere. Number two is I need to work because I'm still middle-aged. I can't retire. So I don't want to commute an hour and a half, 2 hours to a populated area. And number three is I'm anchored down with no flexibility because I'm in a house, just a smaller version, in the middle of nowhere with a bad economy and bad infrastructure. Not good school systems, not good hospitals, not good anything. And if you buy unrestricted land to put your tiny house on, you got to remember, even if you have an acre of property, your neighbor has unrestricted land. So if your neighbor wants to raise chickens and drive their four-wheel ATVs and shoot their guns, they can, because they have unrestricted land just like you. So you can be living in the middle of nowhere with someone doing their ATVs, shooting a gun range, and there's nothing stopping them. For me, again, everyone's different. I'm not saying people shouldn't do it, but I looked at tiny homes, and you don't maintain a level of flexibility that is nomadic. And the RV lot, the reason I like that is because at least if there's a hurricane or if I really do need to move somewhere, my RV is still my home and it's mobile. Okay, a mobile home isn't even mobile because a mobile home, you need like a tractor trailer to come pull it away. So I think tiny homes have more negatives than positives in my personal opinion. Let's continue. You can take your home with you wherever you go. It's smaller and cheaper. In my opinion, do whatever you want, Jennifer, and thank you for the comment. In my opinion, you can't take it anywhere with you. Do the research because you can't just park a tiny home anywhere. You need unrestricted land, and look at the logistics on the piece of machinery you would need to move your tiny home. The best tiny home is an RV. The cheapest one would be a travel trailer. If you really wanted to live in a travel trailer could be anywhere from 50 square feet to a couple hundred square feet. You're better off getting that and either keep it parked on a piece of land or go to RV parks or campgrounds and get a ton. In my opinion, again, everyone should do whatever they want. This is my opinion. Gerald, thank you again for that tip, brother. I appreciate that very much. Milano, Sammy, what's up? Good to see you, Milan. Shout out to you and Emilio. I watched Emilio's video again today when Hurricane Irma came to Florida a couple years ago. Milano, one of my viewers, and his friend Emilio, they live full-time down in Miami in their Class B RVs. They stay at a public park. Now, when you're in Florida and it's the middle of February or March, it's beautiful. The temperatures are in the 70s, 80s, and sometimes 90s. Low humidity. It's a great atmosphere. But you just have to remember, in August, September, and even October, you're on edge because hurricane season always comes, okay? It's the same thing as living in New Jersey. The winter's always going to come, okay? Even though in New Jersey, it's been a mild winter this year. So I am willing to deal with hurricane season because there's no place you can live on this planet that doesn't have a bad season. The only state in America that has a moderate climate all year round is California. That's why real estate prices in California have some of the highest cost ever because it's the climate and the job opportunities. However, the negatives of California is it has earthquakes and wildfires. So you can live in Kansas and then you got to deal with tornadoes. You can live in the Northeast and you have to deal with blizzards. Every place in the world has pros and cons. You have to figure out what's best for you. Gerald, $2. I appreciate that. Starbucks super chat, man. Thank you very much for that gracious tip. Lila Kazak. In the future, I want to be a storm chaser, okay? Be a job for a YouTube live. I'm not mad at that. Lila Kazak. My future life, I want to be a storm chaser, all right? Ooh, my love. Thank you for that gracious tip. I appreciate that. Appreciate you. Gerald, yay! Gerald, ooh, bless you, puppy. And you, of course. And then Woo says, ditto to you, Gerald, Vlad. There's a movie floored for traders to watch. Okay. Kira, hey Kira, hey Sammy. Gerald, hi, Dookie on the side of the road. Hey guys, it happens. Vlad, always be humble as best you can. That's true. Because you can be broken at any time. At any time, whether it's a flash crash or a divorce or a death, at any time in life, no matter how strong and smart you are, you can be broken financially, emotionally, and mentally. And if you don't think so, you haven't lived long enough and you're not honest enough. That's the truth. 100 emoji. Never forget it. Claus, amen, true that. Like Isaac. I have a question though, man. RV parks can't allow dogs. Certain parks or motorhomes. These parks, it's a state law. Okay? Dictionary says you should use StreamYard to have live guests on the air. Would make it a lot better. Well, thank you for that recommendation. I've always wondered how people like have a guest. So I'd have to look up that app. I'm not familiar with it. I really don't have many people in my life that I could do that with, but it's good to know. So I appreciate the comment. Vlad, thumbs it up. I appreciate people who click that thumbs up button. Thank you. Dictionary. I know you've only encountered the fake men going their own way, it says, but the actual philosophy is something they do not follow. They actually destroy it. Well, I appreciate your comment. I can respect what you were saying, and I appreciate that. That yes, the philosophy, which I do like that they have, is of self-care and not just focusing on a relationship, focusing on yourself. So that part of it, I can respect and say is wisdom. Some other parts I may disagree with, so that's fair. Lila Akizak. My lifestyle doing different video, I might film donkeys on YouTube, so I will upload it. Well, good luck to you, Lila Akizak. Thank you. Tom, good point about financing now while you have a good job. I think about that because if I get laid off and you don't have a steady flow of income, it'll take a while before you're able to get a loan. However, do you want a loan when you're laid off? It's a double-edged sword. It's true. Gerald, Sammy, quick comment on the tiny homes. Okay. I heard there's a home builder starting to build them, and they're starting to work on proper zoning to have them should do a lot better. Well, it's true. Yeah, they are working on that because there's money to be made. The problem is a tiny home development would be very similar to an RV park. They're going to get zoned in areas where real estate is not that attractive, okay? Because no real estate developer or municipality is going to want a tiny home development because there's less tax revenue and the builders have less profit margin. So a tiny home community is going to be in the same areas that campgrounds and RV parks are at. Land that is not that attractable in an area where a municipality is willing to take lower tax rates. So you're not going to be in a populated area in a thriving economy usually because RV parks and tiny home communities are always going to be on the outskirts of society because they're not the norm and they're not financially viable for capitalist society. Because a capitalist society, look up capitalism. Capitalism is companies operate solely for a profit. There is no social well-being tied into the word capitalism. So now capitalism has gotten people out of poverty and help. But the bottom line is if we operate off capitalist principles, tiny homes would never be a mass movement because there's more money to be made, more profit to be made through bigger houses. I want you to look at houses built in the 1960s and 70s. There were small ranch, 1,000 square foot or under houses. They are no longer built that way on a mass scale. Most new houses, even for the middle class, are way over 1,000 square feet and they're multi-story, okay? And so that's why housing has become unaffordable for most Americans. And if you are affording it, you are like most Americans who are living paycheck to paycheck, 70%. Thus, it won't take much to go into a financial crisis. And if the Dow Jones lost $1,000 for a month straight, 1,000 points for a month straight, we would have no economy, and it would be totally Armageddon. And then there'd be tiny homes everywhere. Tom, you're smart. He goes, you're smart. I'm sorry, did I read it? I read it. I'm sorry. Tom says, you're smart. Move more confident. You'll be okay. Stay positive. I'm trying to do the best I can. I'm smart only because I've been stupid. So sometimes I can look smart, but I've lost money just like everyone else. But I appreciate that compliment, and I thank you for all your love and support. All right, guys. Thank you for watching tonight. Thank you, Gerald, and thank you, Woohoo, my love. Thank you for everyone who clicked the thumbs up and left a positive comment. I appreciate you watching. See you guys in the next video. Stay positive. Keep moving forward as best you can.